I'm Michael Keelan, and this is K-Box First Take. I'm talking with violinist Romuald Grimbert-Barré about his new album of the Chevalier de Saint-George's violin concertos, as well as a new concerto written specifically for him. Thanks for talking with us today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Saint-George is not really a neglected composer anymore, but his time and place are neglected. We don't usually play music from pre-revolutionary France. What all have you played of his?
Well, I've been playing Saint George since my childhood. My mother is from Guadeloupe, so the same island where Saint George was born. So it felt very natural to play his music as a violinist because, Saint George was a composer, but his main instrument was violin, and you can tell from the way he composed. The violin always shines and is very virtuosic. So since my teenage years, I've been playing. First I played actually his quartet with my family because I come from a musical family, and so I performed many of his quartets in Guadeloupe, and that was actually a very special trip. The first time I did that when I was 15, because it was so the discovery of Guadeloupe because I hadn't been there since since I was 3 years old back then, and it was so first trip to mother's island, and it was also the first time performing Saint George and with my family. And since then, his music has been part of my life. I studied actually 5 years in the U.S. and over there I discovered his violin concertos, and I wrote a paper about two of his concertos. And since then, I regularly performed his concertos, also violin sonatas, even his duets for two violins. So that's why it somehow felt natural to record some of his works. But the trigger actually came for this album when I talked about it with the composer Thierry Pécou, because I've been playing a lot of Thierry Pécou's work in the past 5 years because he has a special ensemble he created, and I've been the violinist of that ensemble. And so I asked him what he thought of the idea of composing a piece in homage, in tribute to Saint George, and he liked the idea, and um, and so thanks to that answer, I was able to convince the Orchestre National de Cannes, so the Cannes Orchestra, to record with us, and everything just happened naturally. But it's an album I've been working on for the past 3 years, so it's really something special to have it released finally. And there are also a couple of performances coming up with the Orchestre National de Cannes, so the orchestra that recorded it, and also another orchestra in Paris. So I'm really excited about it.
So the album contains two concertos of Saint-Georges and this new concerto by Pécu. It's very rare to have a concerto that's about another composer. There are some programmatic elements that refer to the life of Saint-Georges. What are those?
Yeah, I like very much how Thierry Pécou, in a subtle way, quoted a few of Saint Georges concertos, especially in the third movement of the concerto he wrote. You can hear some of the violin parts from his concerto opus 5, which is also in the album, but he does it in such a subtle way that you just hear, the violin voice in a high register, but the orchestra plays something that's totally, of course, different from Saint Georges music. That's much more modern, and so he found a way also to pay tribute to Saint Georges also in the first movement. Because the first movement is mostly about Saint Georges as a fencer, because he was apparently an amazing fencer, and so he called it Rix, which means fight, basically in French, and so you can really hear some sword fights in some passages of the first movement, and it's starts in a very calm way, but throughout the movement becomes more and more exciting, and you can hear, yeah, a real battle towards the end. And the second movement, he describes music. I mean, the traditional Caribbean music called guoca. And guoca is I mean, musical style still performed in Guadeloupe, which is a dancing style of music. And so the whole movement is about the Guadeloupean roots of Saint George.
And the last movement has a title too, right?
Exactly. The last movement is called Revolutions. So you can, of course, think of the French Revolution that Saint George contributed to. But according to what Thierry Pécaud told me, it's about how revolutionary his life has been in a way. When you listen to it, you can imagine. I mean, it's the movement that sounds the most dramatic, and also the most lyrical, especially in the violin part. So you can also imagine the end of Saint George's life, which is actually pretty sad because I mean, he went to jail. He lived in poverty towards the end of his life, and so you can. It finishes, yeah, in a very subtle way and dramatic, and so it's pretty special to finish a concerto in such a manner.
Right. He had a very dramatic biography with ups and downs, many of them related to the political situation in France, as you referred to
Mhm.
there, and also his sword fighting, for which he was just as well known as his violin playing. So, quite a character. Is there more yet descriptively in the score of the Pécu concerto? Is it sort of like Vivaldi's Four Seasons, where it's very specifically marked almost line by line what's going on, or is it just those movement titles?
I mean, there's a lot he could describe, but it's done in such a subtle way that I wouldn't be able to compare it to Vivaldi Four Seasons. I mean, Vivaldi Four Seasons, yeah, it's so clear in the different aspects he wanted the audience to hear. The funny thing is that there are actually two versions of the concerto. He wrote a string orchestra version because at first I didn't think we would have a symphonic orchestra for the recording, but then when we found out that we had the full Cannes National Orchestra, then he decided to add more instruments. So the version that's in the album is the symphonic version. But in the first place, yeah, there's a more intimate version that he wrote.
It's a striking pairing of concertos by Saint-Georges with Thierry Pécu. My guest is Romuald Grimbert-Barré. Thanks very much for talking with us on First Take today.
Thank you so much for having me.